There are two ways, one of life and one of death. And there is a great difference between the two. The way of life is this: first, you shall love God who made you, and second, love your neighbor as yourself, and do not do to another what you would not want done to you. The meaning of these sayings is this: bless those who curse you, and pray for your enemies, and fast for those who persecute you. For what reward is there for loving those who love you? Do not the heathens do the same? But you should love those who hate you, and then you shall have no enemies. This is the opening lines of the Didache, the teaching of the 12. Now, we're going to be studying the Didache carefully tomorrow. At 7 o'clock, we're going to meet up for our first Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade. And we'll be studying the Didache, what it says about early Christian community, and what it also might say about our community together. So a few things, because we're doing Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade in a completely different kind of situation and context and time than we have ever done before. There's a few sort of pandemic ground rules. So the first one is, there's been a couple people who've called me or emailed me saying, man, I feel obliged to come to Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade, but I'm scared that if I go, I'll get infected with COVID, or I'll infect my elderly relatives, or I might infect other people in some way, shape, or form. All right, this is a genuine worry, but also people are so diligent and devoted to their faith life that they feel obliged, even in the face of a pandemic, to show up. And that's very edifying as, one teaching the faith to you all, that some aspect of what I have done, what I am doing, is so important to you all that you're willing to risk your life for it, or the life of a loved one. On the other hand, right, so that's edifying, but on the other hand, I want to be very clear. If you're not comfortable, if you are in an at-risk category, you're over 65, you have a medical condition of some sort, please don't come. For that matter, if you have relatives who you're in contact with who have those same conditions, please don't come. Just in general, if you're afraid of coming to Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade, if you're afraid of that kind of contact, even though we're going to be outside, etc., please don't come. You have my total dispensation. Please be safe. Do what is safe for you and also safe for your neighbor. In fact, it's sort of like that opening there. What are the two things required of the way of life? Loving God who made you, and loving your neighbor as yourself, and not doing to them that which you would not want done to yourself. And so if you would not want to be exposed to COVID, etc., please be safe. That's all I'm saying. Be safe. Okay, yeah, that was a lot right there, wasn't it? But I just want to assure all of you who are sort of chomping at the bit to get back, but also recognize that you'd potentially be endangered. Do not endanger your life on account of, a learning opportunity in the church. Please. Okay, so with that said, we will be, again, wearing masks. We'll be doing this, again, not so much for our own safety, but instead for the safety of everyone around us. Because if we're asymptomatic, if we don't know we got COVID, and we do, this right here is one of the best lines of defense to keep everyone safe. So we're not doing this because we're afraid, right? But instead that we are loving our neighbor and not wanting to accidentally infect them. So that's thing one. Coming to Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade, it is required that you wear a mask. So if for whatever reason you're not able to do that, please don't come. Next, we will be socially distancing. So we'll be keeping 6 feet away from one another in our lawn chairs out there on the lawn. So, just be prepared to be separated by that amount of space, because we will be physically distancing from one another, 6 feet to keep safe. Because again, that's another tool at our disposal to keep people from getting sick or even dying. Then finally, we are going to be, this Learning Lawn Chairs and Lemonade is going to be BYOL&L. What do I mean by that? Bring your own lawn chair. So we're not going to be sharing lawn chairs. We're not going to be trading lawn chairs on the off chance that we would touch a thing that has COVID in it and then touch our eyes or our face or our nose or something like that. But also bring your own lemonade or whatever snack you're bringing. That's another potential way of passing disease along, and we don't want to do that. We want to be safe. So, again, if you're at risk, you don't feel safe, anything like that, please don't come. Wear a mask. Recognize that we'll be socially distancing out on the lawn. And also bring your own snacks and your own lawn chairs. So, with all that said, what is the Didache? It is an early church document, probably written in Antioch, so in the same community that wrote the Gospel of Matthew. And as you go along, you notice pretty quickly that a lot of the things that are said in the Didache are things also said in the Sermon on the Mount, in Matthew's Gospel, that type of thing. So one of the interesting things about this community of Antioch is it's this interesting crossroads. You have the Gospel of Matthew coming out of it, but also that is where the Apostle Paul, who wrote a large chunk of the New Testament, came out of. That was the church that he initially got to experience what it means to be a Christian community in. So this is a catechism tool, just like we have our small and large catechisms, Luther's description of the basics of the faith. So too, this community in Antioch had the Didache, which described the basics of the faith to a new convert, probably a Syrian pagan of some sort, so someone who was not Jewish and needed the basic rundown of what this Christian faith is all about and what is the background to it as they prepare for baptism. So it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about, on one hand, what this document would say about the early church, what it would be like to be in such a community, right? So that's thing one. But also, what does it possibly say about us being in community? How are we to understand the world we're in? So, as a community together. So finally, variety of safety procedures, early church document. We'll be out on the lawn. It'll be half an hour because, again, one of the ways that you stop spreading the contagion is that you're exposed to it for less long. The viral load, as they call it, won't get to you as fully if you're exposed to it for a less of amount of time. So I feel like that was a lot of safety procedure. So let's just go one more time with a little bit of the Didache, just to remind us what's behind all of this, what we're doing as a community. There are two ways, one of life and one of death. And there's a great difference between the two ways. The way of life is this: first, you love God who made you. And second, you love your neighbor as yourself and do not do to another what you would not want done to you. God bless you all, and I'll see some of you tomorrow. Blessings.